Revolution is like Saturn. It devours its own children. George Buckner. Hello everyone, and welcome to Secrets of Saturn. I am Jason Lindgren, your host. On tonight's episode, we have Santos Bonacci. For over 30 years, Santos has been researching the ancient works, compiling and translating them into more accessible terms in his study of astrotheology. Santos lives in Melbourne, Australia, where he presents regular seminars and webinars on demand. He also has presented lectures and workshops around the world. Hello and welcome to the show, Santos.
Yeah, thank you, Jason.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you here.
Yep.
All right. Do you want to talk a little bit about who you are and your past work before we get into our subjects for tonight?
Okay, well, I'm just the average Australian-type individual, really, on one level. Grew up in country Victoria, Australia, with Italian migrated parents from southern Italy. And so what was unique, I guess, if there was anything unique about the way I grew up, was that it was I was bilingual. We spoke English and Calabrian. So really my first language was Calabrian, and that is a dialect of Italian. That was pretty unique, that sort of gave me the energies and dynamics of my life now. Language, the fact that I was understanding and speaking two languages was very important for me. And the other thing was my parents became Jehovah's Witnesses after I was baptized at the age of 2 as a Catholic. And that was very significant too, because it affected how I went to school. It affected how I grew up in terms of, you get a certain kind of a bent when your parents, teach you or bring you up in an institution or a certain way. So those two things were really significant. One gave me theology, one gave me languages. And I guess I've never really veered from that. I then started playing the guitar when I was about 8 or 9 or something like that, and I've always been a guitarist since. That gave me another dimension, which is music. Apart from that, I was never really that good at school, probably good at English. I got good grades with English all the time, not with mathematics. Nothing exceptional at all, except I was a good gymnast. Really, I'm not big at all in stature, but I'm pretty strong. I've always had great strength. I used to do gymnastics, somersaults, trampolining, so that was pretty good physically. But apart from that, nothing exceptional at all at school, man. I was really just struggling all the time. But I did have this theological bent. I had the linguistic thing and music. And I remember looking up the stars and really wanting to know the constellations. So I got myself a telescope. I was only, 11, 12. I begged my mother to get me this super-duper telescope. And so, all those things really stick out in my mind because they give you the sort of foundation for, where you go for the rest of your life, really. Anyway, so now I'm doing syncretism and, esoteric sciences. In fact, all sciences, not just esoteric sciences, whatever. Everything is unified and interrelated via the neutral syncretism. Syncretism is neutral. It's not a religion or theology. It's just the science of merging all things and showing the interrelatedness of all things. And so I know that we've got today's topic is, of course, Saturn. And, Saturn is a planet. Saturn is an archetype. It's in mythology, it's a god, a cruel god. In astrology, he's a greater malefic, which means a really naughty boy. He's not the Messiah. And Mars is a lesser benefic, but still a naughty boy. Both of those planets are of the archetype of Shiva from the west with the swastika, from the east with the swastika. Both of those planets. In fact, all of the planets really signify the cross. As Plato said, matter, the spirit in matter or mind in matter impressed itself in the form of a cross. This is why the cross is such a sacred symbol. It expresses the four elements: solid, liquid, gas, and radiance, as Plato would have said, earth, water, air, and fire. It expresses condition, and so the four conditions of our reality. Our body is a fourfold body in terms of elements. These are elements. And so the cross, as I show in my work too, I'm about to release a presentation called Atomic Language, in which I show that all language, all words, all thoughts, all things come from atom. Atum in Egypt, atom in Greek, Adam in Hebrew. Atom, all derivations of that, Latin, Saturn, all these are from the one root, which is atom, which is the atomic nature of the universe.
What language does that originally come from?
What's that?
You said atom. What does that originally come from? Is that Latin?
Atom is Latin and Greek, yes. Atum, with a U, is Egyptian, and they said that all is atum, all. And so my presentation I'm about to release, called Atomic Language, has 250 PowerPoint pages of really dense research, and it's basically just supporting evidence of the fact that all is atom. All is atom. This is why we have anatomies. This is why we study etymology. It's all about the atom, and the atom is Adam, and Adam is the wave, the ecliptic, the sine wave. All secrets of creation are on the wave, as Walter Russell said. And that's what all my work is. It's all based on that. Everything I do is based on the wave and the ecliptic, and how you can learn, everything, simply everything through the ecliptic. And the ecliptic is atum. They are one and the same. And so this is, I thought I'd preface the information about Saturn with that, because Saturn is the chief of atum. In fact, Sat-10, that's an atomic word. That's a first-order atomic word. What I call first-order atomic words are any word that has a T or a D, which is interchangeable, and a M and an N, which are interchangeable. And they can be reversed in the mirror, they can be mixed up anagrams, and they can be backwards, but they must have a T or a D, or an M and an N. And all the vowels are included, because I think you'll get more of an understanding why by the time we finish this, and we will start from the focal point of Saturn for all of this, because it's the best place to start. He is the beginning of all things, Chronos, old man time. Whatever is born in time will perish in time. That's why he has the scythe in his hand, and he is the dude that visits you the night before you go, not to make you scared, but to tell you that it's okay. You must leave incarnation through the rings of Saturn at the Tropic of Capricorn. He is the ruler of Capricorn, and that is the sign where souls exit. It's called the gateway of the gods. The gateway of men is in Cancer. Right now, we're in Cancer. Ramadan, Tammuz of the Jews, the month of fasting, mourning, because now the sun is waning, you see? Mm-hmm. And so you have to contemplate, you have to reflect, you have to stop eating, and instead of feasting, you have to be fasting, because this is where, inner contemplation teaches you that you are in contact with a superior source. In and up you go, not down and out, because then you will be down and out. That's why Jesus of the Sacred Heart is always pointing one to his heart and then one up to the heavens, because he's saying once you go in, the only true way to everlasting truth and everlasting life is inwardly and not outwardly, and upward you go in quality to the superior place where we come from. So Saturn is this archetype of the old man, Okay, so the ancients said that he is the last, he is the seventh heaven. Below that are the heavens of the other 6 planets and luminaries, and in this order, in the order of their rotation. So Saturn's 30 years, then Jupiter 12 years, then Mars 2 years, then the Sun, then Venus, then Mercury, then the Moon. So the Moon is actually the first sphere in which souls encounter on their way, their return back, and Saturn is the last. They're very interconnected. The Moon has a 29.45 day cycle. Saturn has a 29.45 year cycle. So one is the first, one is the last. That's, the alpha and the omega.
So all those numbers line up like that? They're dead on like that?
Yeah. When you do these planetary orders ordinarily, you can put Saturn first or the Moon. You can go down the ladder or up the ladder. Moon's down the bottom at the red chakra, the base chakra, okay? That's the red color. Moon, menstrual, bleeding, blood. She's the bleeder. And so she's red, and that's the color of the blood. And then the next one is the orbit in your body. This is the orbits. The next orbit is Mercury, then Venus. The heart is the sun in the middle. That's the heart chakra. Leo, the lion. That's the lion, and the toroidal fields, they all merge in the heart chakra. The most powerful vortices of magnetic energy are all centered in the heart. The others in the head, in Aries, the cerebrum, pineal gland rather, and the other one is the solar plexus. But the heart chakra, that's it, man. There's nothing like it. It's the core, the cur, the apple core. We are the apples of Apollo because we are solar beings. If you could see the magnetic auric field that we carry with us as we go, as animals can and others can see, you would see that we are suns. We are embryos of suns, as so are the planets. Now, above the heart chakra, the thymus, there is the throat chakra, that's blue. And then you've got your 2 head chakras, pineal gland and crown chakra, and they are purple, indigo, and violet. Above that is ultraviolet, can't see it, and below the red chakra is infrared, can't see that either. So those colors, 7 colors of the rainbow, 7 colors of your chakra system, etc., those are the planetary gods that are above us, above the earth. The first one is the Moon, and the last one is Saturn. And so Saturn is very, very important, very, very significant. He is Kronos, and he wears the crown. Now, this is very important you understand this, because when we go and discuss the sovereignty bit about the crown and these entities that turn up in your life at, for instance, in the hospital, where you are to sign a certificate of registration, and you put your children's sole of their feet on a piece of paper which specifically says Crown Copyright. Have you heard about selling your soul to the devil? You have, haven't you?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, well, that's where the journey begins. Because, see, the people who run that maritime business, the Holy See of the Vatican, they know what's going on. They're in the salvage business. Anything that is born in time is Timmy, time, tempo, Kronos, Saturn. Anything that is born is in Satan's world. That's what it means. So I'm merging all philosophies here, man. So no one needs to get offended that I'm talking about astrology or Satan or the Mormons or anything. It's all pure neutral syncretism where all sciences are flatly merged and brought into a oneness.
Now, I've noticed you're integrating many different, what would you call them, sects or philosophies, but it all makes sense. It all works with each other.
Yeah, well, the mystic and the philosopher were required to know this. I mean, if you can't syncretize, well, then you're still dwelling in the land of opinion, sense, and a false knowing. Those are the 3 bottom chakras. Opinion, sense. These are 7 conditions of consciousness. The first condition is, the lowest is opinion, you see. And then sense, where you become more sensible and get common sense. And then knowledge. And then wisdom in the heart. and then intuition in the throat chakra, then theurgy, and then illumination in the crown chakra. This is all very important to connect the microcosm with this macrocosm, which is the planetary order of the world we live in. Now, these planets, see, the solar system is actually a solar cell. We live in a sphere. We do not live on a sphere. This is a Vatican corporate false prophet lie that has been going on since Copernicus, you see. Inside the sphere is the sun. The sun is the life giver. He is Adam. He is Atum.
Santos, I have a question for you about the Vatican.
Yep.
How far up the ladder of hierarchy would you say